This was aided by Rowe spilling a sharp chance in the slips off Sylvester Clark. Pollock was again in peerless form. Peter Kirsten too batted very, very well, but his 88 runs did not come without some measure of pain and suffering. Pollock went on to a majestic 100 before being caught behind off Derek Carey for 102, scored off only 135 balls. There was more aggressive batting to come from Clive Rice, who bludgeoned an unbeaten 71, and the Springboks ended with a lead of 152. In the West Indies' second innings, a typically alert piece of fielding by Kirsten accounted for Lynch. While Curry struck again by dismissing Everton Mattis, and also Alvin Kalachharan. Danger Man King fell to a catch in the slips by Pollock. But Night Watchman Parry made a fine half-century. Eventually, he too was caught in the slips of Clive Rice. Rowe dug himself in, but made a critical error when he slammed the worst ball of the match from Hobson into the safe hands of Cook. The Springboks were set to score 117, and this proved an easy target for Cook and Fotheringham. Fotheringham finished the match in style with a flurry of boundaries. The Springboks were 1-0 up in the four-match series. TV viewers of all races followed the action in no fewer than 4 languages. Among the viewers at home was Hassan Haar, president of the breakaway and minority South African Cricket Board.
These tourists from the West Indies, not a West Indian tour. I'm afraid I'm a cricket traditionalist. Let's look at the position as is today. The South African Cricket Union brought them over in an attempt to show, first of all, South Africa that people of different colors could play together. I take that as a sincere gesture. But instead, these people came across at, what, 1,000 to 120,000 upwards per man. And after that, they had landed and started the series. They started blackmail demands, to which the private sector very, very promptly reacted. Now, to me, I think this thing seems to destroy the whole intention of the tour. Any goodwill that could have been generated through this tour was destroyed, in that if you look at the cricketers who belong to my South African Cricket Board, there's no such sponsorship going to them. They play for nothing, they lose wages when they go.
At no stage did the West Indians wish to veer away from their committed contract to us. There was a misunderstanding in terms of the interpretation of sponsorship. It had nothing to do with the fees that were payable to them. I think that's been admitted by the West Indies themselves, and of course those are the facts. But there was a misunderstanding of the extent to which they would be permitted to participate in the sponsorship monies that were collected in relation to the tour. And once that matter was regularized and clarified, the tour went along very happily. Through our influence, the South African Cricket Board too has been able to obtain sponsorship, notably that from Benson and Hedges. And we're happy for all cricket to obtain sponsorship, because it only helps to improve the standard of the game throughout South Africa.
Whether this generates the interest in cricket? Yes, I think it would. When you see white children running for autograph of a black person, that is a new way of life in South Africa. But then all this is destroyed when a conductor doing his job puts Amanda Collincroft off the train. And it's not an unfortunate incident. It's an everyday incident, except that the man who is put off the train would not be registered this country.
The Collincroft incident was most regrettable, and of course, from the South African Cricket Union's point of view, we have made it known how repugnant it was to us. We've never tried to pretend that South African society was perfect, and we made our views known to the West Indies very clearly before they came to this country. On the other hand, the incident itself, as regrettable as it is and as embarrassing as it was, I have no doubt that it will accelerate the pace of change and will contribute materially to those changes that we believe are on their way.
There is more interest in cricket. The direct result is being the West Indies tour.
Our motto is, if they want coaching, we'll coach. And so if Hassan Howard kids who are on the other side want to come to our coaching, they can come. We don't mind where they come from, what colour they are, what creed or anything. We just coach kids. We're just interested in furthering the future of South African cricket.
I was the secretary of the Natal Cricket Board for a period of about 4 years, such. But because of reasons that I feel better to hold myself, hold for myself, I felt it's better to withdraw from the NCB and just concentrate on my school, having the boys coach and giving them the best.
Well, in this specific area of Lenasia, we have 16 schools, and they are coached each once a week. Wednesday afternoons we have matches, as you can see here. And on Fridays we also have a select squad where we get the best boys along from these schools to give them extra coaching. In other areas, El Dorado Park, we have around about 16 schools that take part in our coaching plans, and Soweto is coached also, about another 16 schools there. And the white area, there's so many schools that we have to go around them once every 2 years because we just can't cope. We haven't got enough coaches to go around. In total, this budget comes to around about 150,000 rand. And I'd say 50% of it is going towards the black areas. We have a lot of English overseas coaches, 7 altogether from overseas, and in other areas you use local coaches like here who are trained, have been to coaching courses, and they look after the kids here.
Well, in the beginning, you know, people were very, how can I say, cautious about what opportunities were there for colours and black. But with my experience now, they get the same opportunities any white kid. There might not have been integrated schools in South Africa, but if you play cricket under the umbrella of SSCU, then you get every opportunity that there is for a cricketer, no matter what colour or creed or religion you are.
You know, my highlight was being selected to play for the Transvaal national side in 1980 and in 1981. And again, I'd like to mention the first class match I've played, you know, so far against the Sri Lankans was a highlight of those three incidents were, you know, my highlight of my career so far.
The seaside city of Port Elizabeth played host to a Yellow Pages International, and a sparkling match it was to be. For the first time in the series, Peter Kirsten won the toss and sent the West Indians into bat. Trotman and Greenidge got the tourists off to a spanking start. But Stephen Jeffries broke down the middle order with the key wickets of King and soon afterwards Kallicharan. Everton Mattis played well, as did the skipper Rowe. He batted with typical elegance and a wide range of strokes, before eventually being caught off Jeffries for 48. The fireworks came at the end when Jeffries had a nightmare final over which cost 31 runs, with Ezra Mosley lashing a sequence of no balls and wides into the crowd to finish with an unbeaten 63. A total of 260 for 8 set South Africa a formidable task, but Henry Fotheringham was in splendid form and hit a fine 78. Kirsten fell cheaply for once, but Graham Pollock hit a whirlwind 37 before being brilliantly caught by a lane off King. The Springboks went for their shots, and young Adrian Caper joined in the big hitting before Garth LaRue settled the issue with a massive 6. The teams moved back to Durban for the third Yellow Pages match at Kingsmead. Kirsten was again in fine form, hitting crisply to score 46 despite razor-sharp fielding. The West Indies fielding was to be a feature of the match. This despite a let-off when Emerson Trotman made a spectacular attempt at a catch. But for Monty Lynch, it was oh so easy. Clive Rice went on the attack, and Ken McEwen displayed his best form of the series so far, hitting firmly on both sides of the wicket. Rice fell to a good catch at the second attempt by Stevenson, but McEwen went on to a well-earned 50. Stevenson held another catch in the deep, offered by Caper, and the Springboks were all out for 220. Trotman, as so often was the case, got the tourists off to a quick scoring start. And Greenidge drove with a flourish. wicketkeeper Jennings took the most spectacular catch of the match to dismiss Trotman. But it was to be a day of disaster in the field for the Springboks. Calacharan escaped, as did Monty Lynch. And Lynch again. Bad light drove the players off the field for half an hour, and the target was reduced to 194 in 44 overs. When they returned, Rowe snatched the Man of the Match award with a sparkling innings in the gloom. He was ably supported by the reliable Murray. Rowe hit the winning runs, and the West Indians were back in front in the one-day series. Champagne made the long flight back to Capetown more palatable. And the West Indians were set to end a Newlands hoodoo, despite the absence through illness of Rowe. Jimmy Cook was a confident starter for the Springboks. But this was to be Ezra Mosley's match. Cook was well caught by the acrobatic Murray, and Barbadian Mosley followed up by bowling Kirsten and Fotheringham. Pollock offered positive resistance, but Mosley claimed a fourth key wicket when he had McEwen caught behind. Despite 45 from Pollock and a spirited 35 from Adrian Caper, the Springboks could only muster 149 all out. Caper's dismissal signalled a collapse against an attack which had settled into a typical West Indian formula of unrelenting pace. The West Indian innings proved a triumph for Emerson Trotman, and the Holland-based Barbadian displayed a wide range of strokes. Greenwich survived a marvellous effort by Kenny McEwen, which the crowd thought was out. Trotman went on his merry way, and then Curry did trap Greenwich leg before. Trotman, though, was not to be denied, and he went on with an uninhibited attack to finish with an unbeaten 94. Defeat by 8 wickets had the Springbok selectors pressing alarm bells, and they decided to demote Kirsten and make Clive Rice captain for the rest of the series. Back to Johannesburg, the city of gold, and the third national Panasonic test at the Wanderers, which was to prove a remarkable action-packed encounter. Sylvester Clark trapped Cook. And Mosley blasted out Fotheringham. Then came the mighty Pollock. And with the courageous Kirsten, he put on 67. Pollock was in particularly aggressive mood, scoring 41 of only 31 balls. Eventually, he was well caught by Mosley off a lane, who immediately followed up with the wicket of McEwen. Kirsten reached yet another 50. His dismissal of the fired-up Elaine heralded a collapse to 160 all out. In the West Indies innings, Greenwich edged a lucky 4 runs off Kenny Watson, who had replaced Garth LaRue in another selection surprise. But Watson quickly trapped Everton Mattis, while Rice accounted for Lynch. Collis King, so popular at the Wanderers, responded in aggressive style as he laid into Rice. He was lucky to survive, though, when Rupert Hanley held a high hit but stepped over the boundary. The Springboks fought back through Adrian Caper. King went on to score 54. And Murray made 43. But Caper's tenacity brought him 5 wickets and restricted the West Indian lead to 33. In the South African second innings, Cook fell to a brilliant catch by Greenwich, as the Springboks again started badly. Before Kirsten and Pollock shared another profitable stand. Kirsten made 61. And Pollock 46, this time off just 33 balls. Both batsmen hit the ball with thrilling power to add 83 in only an hour. Franklin Stevenson made the vital breakthrough by bowling Pollock. And although Rice also batted well for 47, the West Indian fast bowlers were not to be denied. The target was 204, and Greenwich set about the task with his most impressive innings of the tour. Mattis provided good support. Before Caper had Greenidge well caught by Curry for 43 to start a collapse. Calacharan was caught by Pollock of Watson, who then bowled Mattis for 32. While Pollock, only a month short of his 40th birthday, took a brilliant catch to dismiss Murray. Collis King had been in bed with suspected chickenpox and looked a sick man when he came in with the score at a precarious 99 for 6. King made a vital 42. But even so, the last pair were at the wicket when a great effort by Kirsten narrowly failed to run out Clark, who clinched the match with a 4 off Watson to level the series. The players enjoyed a few days' rest before returning to the Wanderers for the crucial 5th Yellow Pages International. The Springboks needed to win to save the series. An enthusiastic Capacity crowd turned up.
As long as it's cricket, as long as we play cricket, we'll be happy. That's important. Cricket is important.
Oh yes, very much. It encourages cricket amongst the youngsters.
I think it's the best tour that we ever had in this country.
Rowe again won the toss and asked the Springboks to bat in front of packed stands. For Jimmy Cook, there was a new opening partner in 23-year-old Springbok hockey international, Mandy Yachert. Meanwhile, as the crowd settled down at the Wanderers, across Johannesburg, another cricket match was underway. The South African Cricket Board was staging a Hour Bowl interprovincial between Transvaal and Natal. Ahmed Mangera, a member of Hassan Howe's executive board.
Western Province is, I think, the strongest out of the lot. Eastern Province is quite strong as well, and Transvaal had a very good running last year, but I think it seems that this year they have gone a bit on the low side. This is a match that is played every year. This is an interprovincial fixture which is played on a home and away basis, and it's known as the Hour Bowl. And this is the second day that this particular game is going on.